Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood, and today we're going to be learning all about March Madness, the high-stakes, heart-pounding college basketball tournament that takes over the sports world every spring. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. Some say that because tournament upsets are so wildly unpredictable, mathematically, basketball knowledge doesn't really matter in building a perfect bracket. They say if you just randomly flipped a coin to pick every single winner in your March Madness bracket, you'd have exactly the same chance of getting a perfect score as a die-hard basketball analyst who studies all the data. Now, what do you think? Is this an actual fact or just too good to be true? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is bracketology. That's bracketology. In the context of March Madness, bracketology is the process of predicting the field of the NCAA basketball tournament and the practice of filling out a bracket to guess which teams will win each game. While it sounds like a formal science, it's actually a relatively modern term that gained popularity in the 1990s. It combines the word bracket, the tree-style diagram used to track tournament progress, with the suffix ology, which means the study of. It essentially turns the hobby of picking winning teams into a pseudoscientific discipline, complete with experts known as bracketologists who spend all year analyzing team statistics. Interestingly, the term bracket doesn't come from sports. It originally came from the Old French word braguette, that's braguette, which referred to a type of architectural support or even a piece of clothing. In architecture, a bracket is a support that protrudes from a wall to hold up a shelf or a roof. The visual shape of those supports with two lines that meet at an angle resembles the lines of a tournament chart that connects two teams to a single winner. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about March Madness. Number 1. The first official NCAA Division I women's basketball tournament wasn't held until 1982, despite collegiate women playing the game as early as the 1890s. In the spring of 1982, the NCAA hosted its inaugural Division I Women's Basketball Championship, marking a massive milestone for female athletes. This highly anticipated tournament featured 32 teams battling it out for the national title. Louisiana Tech ultimately emerged victorious in a thrilling final game. The event firmly established women's basketball on the national sports map and paved the way for the massive popularity the tournament enjoys today. But long before this official tournament, college women had actually been playing the sport since 1892, when Senda Berenson adapted the rules at Smith College. During that era, medical professionals mistakenly believed that running full court would be detrimental to women's physical health, and they actually kind of restructured the game to accommodate this flawed physiological assumption. The original courts were divided into 3 distinct zones where players were restricted from crossing the lines. It took decades of shifting scientific and societal understanding for women to finally play the modern, full-court, highly athletic game we see today. Number 2. The term March Madness actually graduated from high school basketball before it came to college. While we associate the phrase March Madness with the NCAA, the term was first used by a man named Henry V. Porter to describe a high school basketball tournament in 1939. Porter was an official for the Illinois High School Association, and he wrote an essay titled March Madness to describe the intense excitement and fandemonium surrounding the state's high school championship. The phrase stayed local to Illinois for decades, appearing on programs and even being used in local news broadcasts. It wasn't until the 1980s that the phrase went national. The sports broadcaster Brent Musburger, who had covered the Illinois high school games earlier in his career, used the term during an NCAA tournament broadcast to describe the wild energy of the games. The NCAA loved the name so much they eventually trademarked it, but they actually had to enter a legal agreement with the Illinois High School Association to share the rights to the name. Number 3. The temporary basketball courts set up for the tournament are designed to be bouncier than regular arena floors. Because March Madness games are often played in a massive football stadium or other arenas, the NCAA has to truck in specialized hardwood floors that are assembled like giant jigsaw puzzles. These subfloors are built with thousands of small rubber pads underneath the wood panels. The design creates a bit of give or cushioning every time a player jumps or runs, which absorbs the impact on their knees and ankles. While fans might think a hardwood floor is solid, a truly rigid floor would actually cause more injuries and tire the players out much faster during the high-intensity tournament schedule. The wood they use for these floors is almost always Northern Grade 1 maple from forests in Michigan and Wisconsin. This specific type of wood is chosen not only because it's incredibly durable, but it's also light colored, which helps the orange basketball and the players stand out clearly on high definition television broadcasts. Number 4. Women's basketball has recently broken all-time viewership records, even outdrawing the men's finals. In 2024, the sports world witnessed a massive shift in popularity when the NCAA Women's National Championship game between South Carolina and Iowa drew more television viewers than the men's championship. The women's final averaged 18.8 million viewers, peaking at a staggering 24 million, while the men's final averaged about 14.8 million. This was the first time in history that the women's title game had a larger audience than the men's. The surge in popularity was driven by legendary players like Caitlin Clark, whose incredible long-range shooting and passing ability captivated fans who might not have followed college basketball before. This increased interest led to sold-out arenas across the country for both the regular season and the tournament. And our fifth and final fun fact for today. The tradition of cutting down the net was started by a coach who wanted a souvenir. Every year, the winning team celebrates by climbing a ladder and snipping off a piece of the basketball net to keep as trophies. But this wasn't officially in the rules. It was just kind of a personal habit. The tradition is said to have originated with Coach Everett Case of North Carolina State, who began doing it in 1947. After his team won a conference championship, he realized he didn't have a trophy to take home, so he climbed up and cut down the net to remember the moment. The practice became so popular that it spread to other colleges and eventually the NCAA tournament itself. Today, the NCAA actually provides special championship ladders and custom-made scissors for the ceremony. Each player and coach gets to cut a single strand of the net, and the head coach usually takes the final piece, including the rim loop, which is often turned into a necklace or framed for the school's trophy case. Now for some news you can use. If you're an aspiring bracketologist and want to participate in a bracket pool with your family, friends, or coworkers, here's a little tip from Game Theory. When selecting your eventual champion, instead of picking the overall statistical favorite that everyone else is likely to choose, you want to select a highly ranked team that's slightly less popular. By doing this, you're differentiating your bracket from the masses. The idea is that a bracket pool isn't necessarily about just getting the most points, it's about getting more points than the other people in your specific group. If you pick the same champion as 70% of the office, you'll have to guess perfectly in all the earlier round upsets just to break a tie. But if your slightly less popular champion wins the tournament, you'll instantly leapfrog the vast majority of your competitors, mathematically maximizing your chances of winning the entire pool. When you're looking for upsets in your bracket, here's another little fun fact to be aware of. In the history of the men's tournament, a 12 seed has upset a 5 seed in nearly every single year. Statistically, the 12 over 5 is the most common significant upset in the first round. And there's actually kind of a logic to it. Usually, 12 seeds are the very best teams from smaller mid-major conferences who enter the tournament on a long winning streak with tons of momentum. Meanwhile, 5 seeds are often power teams that might have struggled or faced injuries at the end of the season. To make your bracket stand out, look for a 12 seed that has a great defense or a high 3-point shooting percentage. These teams can get hot quickly, and because the pressure's all on the higher seeded team, the underdogs often play with more freedom. Picking at least one 12 seed to advance to the second round is a smart way to gain an edge in your bracket without taking too much of a risk. And finally, the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if completely guessing by flipping a coin gives you the exact same odds of picking a perfect bracket as using basketball knowledge and statistics. Well, this one's a fallacy. While the tournament is full of upsets and unpredictable twists and turns, it's not entirely random. If you were to pick every game of a 64-team tournament by simply flipping a coin, the odds of getting every single game right are 1 in 9.2 quintillion. That's 9 followed by 18 zeros. To put that in perspective, if every single person on Earth filled out a unique bracket every single second, it would take over 37 years for someone to finally get it all right. But sports aren't completely random. There are differences in skill levels that can inform your bracket picks. Experts estimate applying relevant data will improve your chances significantly compared to a completely random choice, but making a perfect bracket is still practically impossible. They say the odds are still about 1 in 120 billion. Because there are so many variables, from player injuries to a lucky bounce of a ball, no one in recorded history has ever verified a truly perfect bracket. The closest anyone has ever come, at least as of the time of this recording, was in 2019 when a fan from Ohio correctly predicted the first 49 games of the men's tournament before finally getting a game wrong in the Sweet 16. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about March Madness with me today, and be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.